And I mean, what went wrong? We're gonna pull filters, we're dropping oil, we're pulling bushes. We're gonna take the engine apart. And guess what it is? It's a Holden, the Holden Commodore. It's based on the Commodore chassis. Looks like the hood lining has failed. This is a 2003 model car. It's not new. What else has gone wrong in this car? You can see that it's traveled 2,000 kilometers? So the driver's seat down here, that foam's stuffed. It's got a hole. We've probably got seat wear on the back of it as well. Yeah, getting in and out. So this vehicle should have a leather steering wheel. Unfortunately, this one's been replaced. The headlights have got sun damage. They are plastic. So both sides, unfortunately, have this haze on them. So they're not clear. What has gone wrong? It's done 292,000 kilometers. So I tell you one thing that's gone wrong is the guy, he was a bit harsh with it. We're gonna find an engine problem. I'd be surprised if this was the original alternator. So this looks like a factory ignition module. Oh look, that radiator cap's been replaced. Now it has an expansion tank or overflow. Well, it's not really an expansion because it doesn't hold pressure, but it's got these brown stains on it. So that normally tells you that it's had a oil contamination issue. Oh, that's interesting. I just had a little sneak peek behind and we can tell that this radiator has actually been replaced. A V6 engine. It has a 4-speed auto, commonly called a 4L60, and it has a Borg-Warner rear differential. Someone's put a battery in. We're gonna have to continue the research and keep looking at this vehicle. Talking about water, down here is a heater tap. Looking at how shiny, I'd say that's being replaced. It appears to have the standard ignition leads or wires. With basic appearance, it looks like it's unmodified and everything was in good condition prior to one lead foot. Let's take it up on the hoist and have a look. This vehicle still has the original exhaust system. It still has the original shock absorbers, and it appears to have the original dry shafts or axles and springs and suspension arm components in the rear end. Yeah, it has an engine in the front, a transmission, and a diff in the back. So that makes it a rear-wheel drive. Quite common in Australia. What's been done over the years. Like, there's no way that these brake pads and rotors haven't been replaced. Has a single oh, wait. What do we see up here? It has a 2-piece tail shaft and the center bearing or support bearing is broken. So the steering rack on this vehicle, it's very easy to check for wear and tear. That knocking noise is actually play in the steering rack. So we can identify that, conveniently, because the boots, the boots popped. Okay, so in this case, the rack movement appears to be in the bush in the rack and pinion itself. I reckon this sway bar link pin will be buggered. Yeah. Now, if we look at the lower control arm, it's an original arm. The lower control arm bush is actually split right there. Now this rear caster bush has definitely been replaced. 290,000 with the original ball joint. So this is the front caster bush. And in here where my finger was is a split. Caster bushes are definitely prone to failure. We've got a drop of oil on the oil filter. We've got a drop of oil steering high pressure line. So there's a good chance that the oil on that line is unrelated. So these engine mounts do collapse. The sump is lower than the cross member because the engine mounts have sagged. If the engine doesn't crank over by hand, it ain't gonna crank over with a starter motor. Generally speaking, clockwise is the way that your engine turns. This one doesn't appear to move clockwise at all. But look, it does move, but it's locking up. So it has suffered a catastrophe. There we go, we've got a little drop of oil back here. Not too much. It actually looks somewhat clean back here as well. Like the dirt line is not continuous. So maybe someone has tried to clean it at some point. Now these disc rotors or brake rotors have been replaced, and there's clear signs of that. Original strut or shock absorber, original brake lines, original ABS, but unfortunately it looks like this rubber boot is kaput. These shock absorbers will not be working as well as what they did when the car was new. If you serviced it and don't thrash it, could it have made 300,000? That's the big question. These bonnet struts are definitely being replaced. The front rotors have been replaced. All right, in this next part, we're gonna start draining fluids and see what condition some stuff's in. So we've got the rear differential here. That doesn't look too bad. That's a requirement for what's gonna happen next. As you can see that center bearing is completely separated. So we're gonna have a look at the transmission. So the diff oil is still draining. I've got very thick oil on that one. We're gonna pull transmission pan off and see what's going on with the transmission. All right, that pan is ready to come off. Oh, it's red. There's a good start. I'm gonna pour a bunch of it out, not all of it. So we wanna look in the pan and check the condition of it. All right, let's have a look down the bottom. Okay, now there's a grayish dark color to that, which suggests a little bit of clutch wear and tear. So overall, this transmission looked pretty good. We're taking the drive shafts out. We're gonna pull this diff apart. We're gonna see what the bearings are like after 290,000 kilometers. It's never been out. Coming down, pop these shafts out. They're on a pair of dowels. There's no point checking the gear mesh on this because I use diff with this thing, it's going to have some wear and tear. I mean, I could check the backlash on it, but would be visual. There you have got my left exhaust on, all right? Okay, so there's a big nut holding the yoke on, or flange. This is not the appropriate way, but we're just gonna get it to come apart, because if this just falls apart, it's telling you that it's got a problem. I'll just give this a little bit of a tapper. All right, so this yoke is still pretty good. Honestly, this diff, as expected. Now the diff itself has two bearings. We're gonna knock the front out and then we'll come back and knock the rear out. Very carefully. I say very carefully, it all falls out. We've got a pinion seal and a small pinion bearing. Okay, looking at the pinion bearing, you can see a ring. That's the wear mark. So it's gone past the outer hard layer. So this is the big pinion bearing. There's 4 tapered roller bearings in this diff, 2 on the pinion, 2 on the carrier. And so I'm gonna rotate it. Oh, look at that. Okay, so they've got the dark center line and you've got the light gray line. The light gray line is also a wear indicator, but see how it's low there and high there? It's fat and narrow. So this pinion bearing is on its way. That is the only thing I found wrong with this diff. Next on the agenda is get this auto off so we can have a look and see what else is going on. Hopefully we don't find any rear main leaks, but didn't look too bad. off, huh? All right, whatever. If I reckons it's coming off, it's coming off. All right, so we'll take this. Not bad, nice and clear. Okay, so just got to watch the dippy on the way down, because it'll get caught. Otherwise, you've got to go down and up a few times. But it is possible to fit the tranny with the dipstick on. There you go. All right, that's just transmission wiring. We'll just hook that aside for now. And wheel this out of the way. For the sake, it's always a good idea to mark where these go on and off, because there's only one way. Getting there. 2 to go. Don't fall off. So here we've got a water leak. This is coolant. Up here we've got an oil leak. It's going to have an intake manifold problem unless you do the gaskets at some point. And the wire connector on the back. All right, let's pull off the intake manifold gasket. No, just the intake manifold. What's all this sludge right here? That's water gallery. And that is broken. Same with that one. Oh wow, look at the head. Yeah. We'll pull the engine out next, and we'll have to keep dismantling because we're doing a full tear down on this vehicle. Raise the cub. Yep.
Eco the toilet.
Yeah. How much is it gonna leak? That's the question. That's an engine.
That's an eco.
Is it?
For all the haters out there, it's an alright engine.
It's a Buick 3800, actually. This is a GM 38. It does that a lot. Alright, let's roll.
Your haters leave us alone.
Well, you're gonna do something, do it properly. We've pulled this thing apart and find out what's going on. Aerial mast antenna is broken. Worn sway bar bushes, and they were only visible when we pulled it. See the rust there? The tops are collapsed on the struts. So yeah, fuel tank's out, fuel lines are out, rear cradle's out, rear arms are out. The suspension is completely out in the back end. The fuel line, brake line going all the way is out. Engine's out, transmission's out, tail shaft's out.
What went wrong? Well, actually, I'll tell you what went wrong very quickly. But are you going to watch the rest of the video? So this particular one clearly ran out of oil pressure or had a bearing issue, and now the piston's sideways, so it broke a rod. So unfortunately, it's a common thing when the big end bearings get loose. And when the big end bearings get loose, you have oiling issues. And when you have oiling issues, you have noises. And if your engine has bad noises, you need to stop driving because you're going to blow it up. I know, because I've done it before. This wasn't me. This is a car I bought off Facebook Marketplace. Now, very carefully, if we listen and move this rod, we might even be able to hear a bearing issue. Yeah. Hear that? That is slop in the bearing. Now, 1 and 6 at either end are always the first to go. So this thing would have been rattling its brains out because the bearings chewed out. And when the bearings tune out, it will be knocking its head off. What went wrong? This is the question that we've been asking ourselves. What went wrong? We can see over here, if you come around, that it's buggered. So the big end bearing on the push rod has left the chat and called it a day. The engine has spat a bearing, spat a rod, didn't throw didn't throw the rod out of bed, but she's done. And what happens is all the bits and pieces up here can sometimes go back into the intake manifold and then back into other chambers on the engine. It depends on when it got shut down. But that is bad. And I mean really bad. And you'll see on the cylinder head as well. So the cylinder head for the driver's side is the one with the bracket on here, and the issue is with the passenger side. So it'll be this cylinder head. And I believe that right there is pieces of an engine. So it looks like it's shut down pretty fast because depending on what metal, aluminium can cause damage into a cylinder, but isn't known for doing a lot of damage. And this engine would have stopped rotating very fast because it locked up. This engine, can it be fixed? Maybe. Are you going to fix it? No, I would not bother. What can we use? Technically, we can use the middle two pistons and rods without an issue because the wear and tear is on the outside. But it would need new bearings and who knows what else. So it's pretty bad, but it's not the worst. Technically, you could probably use 2, 3, 4, and 5 piston and rods without too much drama, but because 6 and 1 is where the problem is, and 1 has left the chat, but 6, like I was saying before, is still a problem, so it hasn't been fixed yet. So what went wrong with the engine? You tell me. Thanks, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks, guys and girls. Happy motoring.
Stop recording.
Service your damn cars, people.
Shit, aim right at.